Well, friends, it is time for me to discuss Drain Gang Weekend, E by Echo 2K, and I always want to say Bladedancer by Ice. Icedancer by Bladee. And I will admit now publicly and freely what you guys already probably know, and that is I am not a drainer. There you go. Probably not a huge surprise. Yeah, and I guess I don't know what else to say on top of that. You know, two big hurdles I had over these 2 weeks with these two albums, and mostly with Icedancer. With E, I kind of like E, honestly. And maybe we'll start there. E is cool. E reminds me, I think I mentioned on one of those reactions, I mentioned a band called Mum. And they're from Iceland, and they are like experimental. It's kind of like if you took Radiohead and mixed them in with ambient music. E falls into that area, that realm a bit. It's like if you took Mum and mixed them in with some trap a little bit. So with E, I enjoy E. I think it travels in a couple lanes that I enjoy. Some of that chill trap style, some of that kind of ambient, some of that experimental stuff. I'm into that. It's not so draining, right? And with Bladee, with Icedancer, that was the biggest hurdle for me. And it's weird because the hurdle is also a compliment, because when I listen to Icedancer, my God, I really want to call it Bladedancer. I don't know why. I want to call the album Bladedancer. When I listen to Icedancer, it reminds me of when I was working night shift and I was exhausted and I was getting no sleep and I was burnt out and I was miserable. And in a sense, it's kind of weird because that's a compliment to the music, in that Bladee is able to make an album and capture these emotions through these sounds. Like, it puts me in that place. But I don't want to be in that place. And so I feel like I'm having an experience like I did with Watch My Back by Lucky, where people were good enough to explain to me, look, don't expect melodies, don't expect this, expect just strung out, drug addicted, dark, depressing. And it's like, yeah, that album does that. But because it does that, I don't put it on. And the same thing would happen with Bladee. Icedancer, look at that. Every time I've wanted to say Bladedancer. Every time. I don't know why. The two times that I got full listens on it and I was okay with it was when I was gaming. So I've been playing a lot of Diablo 4. Diablo 4 has improved, in my opinion. This recent season has been fun, and I've been enjoying it. And the times that I was playing and I just had Icedancer on, not paying attention to it, yeah, cool, fine. But that was pretty much the only time I could put it on and be okay with it. The other times that I tried to put it on and like, all right, let's sit down and listen to this. The first, I don't want to. I just don't want to. It was never a sense of, ooh, this sucks, or ooh, I don't like this. It was just I'm not in the mood. I'm not in the mood. And I'm sure we've all been there. I'm sure you guys have been there. I've been there with pretty much all music, even the music I love. There are times I put on an album I love and I go, you know what? I'm just not in the mood for whatever reason, right? Even some of the favorites, like Animals, Pink Floyd Animals. Kitty, get off the counter, Kitty. Oh my God. Hey. This is the face of guilt. Kitty, I want you to tell the people what you've done. What have you done? You were on the counter, weren't you? Yeah. He doesn't even care. No remorse. Oh, Kitty. Yeah. Okay. Sometimes you're just not in the mood. And I think that's really the catch-22 with Icedancer for me, with this album. Now, a lot of people, I was cracking up over the comments about nobody likes Bladee on their first listen. And that was really fun for me to see, because of all the albums I've done over the last 3 years, I don't think I've ever seen that consistent posts of people saying nobody likes it on their first listen. Can't wait to see you hate this album. Like, that shit, I was busting up when I was reading that. I was like, oh, okay, I'm not like way out of line here. But that was really the thing. And the Catch-22, I think, is just because that album grabs that essence of just strung out, depressed, there's drug addiction in there, no sleep, just we were having a little bit of a chat in Discord at one point, and they were basically just descriptions of draining and what it means and what it's supposed to feel like. And I know Bladee has kind of like a wide, almost open-ended definition of what it is. And I described it as water running down a fresh painting. Just that feeling. Like you can just feel it all bleeding out type of a thing. And it does that. And because it does that, I don't want to listen to it because I don't want to feel that way. And it's strange because I'll listen to stuff that is depressing or it's sad or it's angry or whatever. And usually I don't get to that like level of, oh, fuck, this is like really attaching to the emotions that I associate with this type of music, or the other way around. The music is latching onto the emotion. And so with Icedancer, I really do think it comes down to the fact of just how I felt when I was on night shift and how strung out I was and how tired I was and just all of that. And it's weird because it's almost like, I'm sure most of you out there have had situations in your life where you used to listen to these songs or these albums or whatever, and it was at a certain point in your life. And maybe whatever was going on wasn't great, and that's all in the past, and you moved on. And then every now and then, when a song comes on or that album comes on, you're like sucked back in time to that place, right? That not great place. It's weird because that's what Icedancer is doing without ever being associated with that previous time. And to me, that's a compliment. Even though I'm not connecting with the music in a way that I want to, the fact that the music itself and the style and the vocals are pulling that out on its own is pretty impressive to me. So this is going to be one of those albums where it definitely sits in a category of I appreciate it. It's doing what it does very well. I'm just not into it. It's not my jam. And then with E, I kind of feel like I glossed over that one. I think with E, since it exists more in a almost like experimental ambient lane, obviously with vocals, I mean, there's plenty of vocals in there. But because of the sound, a little bit more chill, a little lighter, not so just drained out. That one I enjoy. I can listen to that one. I have to skip the first track half the time because you guys know I don't really like a lot of repetition in the sound. And that first track, the vocals are just looping. So I get sick of that. But overall, E, I like quite a bit. I enjoy E. And I can listen to that one, and I can pay attention to that one and soak it in a little bit more and not be like, oh, I gotta get out of this. Is there anything else? I don't know. I don't think so. There were there was a couple comments, a couple discussions in Discord too about, how his lyrics, like with Bladee, I was brushing off his lyrics a little. There was one comment about, I don't even remember what it was, but I think another aspect of Bladee that I have a hard time connecting with too is it seems like some of the things that he's placing importance on, I just don't share that same level of importance. And so what he's either upset about or worked up over or really focused on are things I don't have that strong emotional reaction to like he does. So I don't want to get into details because why? It doesn't matter. But just a lot of different barriers for me when it came to Bladee. Now, people did mention Crest. I believe Crest is a collab between E and Bladee, I believe. And they said, you know what, you might like that one, so I might check that out. People did also say that Bladee, like lots of evolution through his discography. And so in terms of listening to an artist change over time, he's pretty fascinating. I'm not going to do reactions to all his albums. Maybe I'll like sit down time to time on my own and just listen to stuff and check it out. But it is cool when you see that. When you hear an artist evolve and change and watch them grow, I think that's awesome. I think it's fascinating. There you go. Not a drainer. There you go. Hopefully that doesn't upset people too much. It's probably not surprising. But I do like the fact that I sat down with it. I listened to it. It was challenging. It's not my thing. But I can appreciate it. I mean, going back to that night shift, man. I mean, I remember being up. It's 3, it's 4 in the morning. I'm trying to stay up as late as possible. I'm exhausted. All I want to do is go to sleep. I don't sleep well to begin with. All I want to do is go to sleep. I'm trying to stay up as late as I can so that I'll sleep in the next day. So I go to bed. Oh, it's 3:30. Oh, okay, sweet. I'll sleep 8 hours and I'll sleep till noon. No, I wake up at 9. I wake up at 9 a.m. And then, of course, if I'm working that night shift. So then what do? I'm up. I can't sleep. Maybe I go back to sleep from like 11 o'clock until 1. I know I'm awake again. And then I work all... Oh, God. It was fucking... I was so miserable. So miserable. Tired. Cranky. Not fun. Not fun. So thank you, Blade, for bringing all that up again. All right, y'all. Good times. Take care. We'll see you soon.